Wait, can you guys hear that?
Yes, Hannah, I can.
Will's like, stop it, stop it! This year, like every year, the ATK Reviews team has tested hundreds of kitchen products across a wide variety of categories.
And as 2023 winds down and we look forward to 2024, Hannah and I thought it would be fun to give you an inside look at some of the standouts from this year's testing. Some of these products were great, and others were less than spectacular.
We're going to show you our favorite and least favorite products from the 2023 testing lineup, so you can decide what earns a place in your kitchen. But first, we have a book coming out. It's called Kitchen Gear, The Ultimate Owner's Manual.
The two of us have 30 years of combined experience testing kitchen gear, and we've packed all of our favorite tips and tricks into this book.
We give you our unbiased take on what's worth buying and what's not. Plus, you'll find over 100 ATK recipes that bring out the best in your gear.
Get your copy of Kitchen Gear, The Ultimate Owner's Manual today. First up, here's Hannah with some of her best and worst products of the year.
This year, we went on a big journey with rolling pins. We learned a ton, and one thing we want to talk about today is why we don't like marble rolling pins. I have a gorgeous one right here, and you know, in the Instagram era, it can be tempting to buy something that looks beautiful, but I want to talk about why you should not be tempted. Bakers sometimes praise marble and stainless steel, we tested one of those too, because of their ability to stay cool. You know, you can chill them before and then they'll keep your dough cool, making it easier to roll out. But this one small benefit is not worth the downsides of these materials. First of all, this thing is heavy. It's 4.6 pounds, which may not sound like a lot, but when you're trying to roll out doughs and fly through projects, it actually is really heavy.
You said crush your hands.
I did.
Yeah.
That hurt. It is so heavy that it smashed the beautiful air pockets out of our pizza dough, and when we tried to roll cookie dough out with it, it was really uneven because it smashed it down instead of smoothing it across. Like, we really want that nice even layer. Also, when you're rolling out dough with parchment paper, the weight of this actually caused the paper to move all around, so you're really not getting things done as efficiently as you could. The edges of the pin actually left noticeable indentations on our dough. This was a little short. And we really don't like handles. You know, if you think about it this way, when you're holding onto the handle, you're a beat removed from what is touching the dough. So you have less control. You know, you're rolling this versus rolling something that is touching the dough itself. So we prefer the control of a single piece of material. Another thing we noticed, unfortunately, in testing, rolling pins roll, shocking, but these are breakable. Check this out. While we were filming TV, this actually rolled off the counter, casualty, and shattered. We had to tape it back together because there were jagged edges all over. Another one I want to call out is non-stick. So this is an OXO model that we don't like. Just for everyone that says we're sponsored by OXO, we do not like everything they make, and here is an example right here. We didn't like the handles because, you know, it made indentations in the side, a little bit less control, but the non-stick part, which may sound like a good idea, you know, you don't want dough to stick, but in some instances you actually do, like when you're trying to stretch out a dough, for example. We like the grip that wood gives. It also has flexibility. You know, you can add a little more flour, no flour, you can dial it in. With non-stick, you couldn't do that. Nothing stuck to it. Our ATK recommended rolling pin is this dowel style model by J.K. Adams. It has been a winner for years. It just won this round of testing again, and for good reason. We absolutely love the straight shape. Because it has no handles, you don't get indentations in the dough, and you get a lot more usable surface space. So if your dough is bigger than, say, 9.7 inches, for example, you have the runway to do that. You don't have to adjust, or make indentations in the dough. This long shape allows you flexibility to do all kinds of doughs. You also get a lot more control. Without handles, you are touching what's touching the dough. With handles, you are touching the handles that's touching what's touching the dough. There's one layer less removed. As we were rolling out doughs and testing, we found that the rougher texture of wood really threaded the needle for that optimum, most versatile performance. Another product we tested and did not like this year are these silicone grill gloves by Jolly Green. We love and recommend grill gloves for novice and expert barbecuers alike. It's really important to have something to protect you around that heat, and grill gloves are known for hitting up higher on your arm, so you really get that extra protection around the flames. That said, we tested a bunch of different models, and some of these we would definitely not recommend. These are made of super thick silicone and they do not have a lining. So putting them on and taking them off is hard because they're sticky. We felt like these were octopus tentacles, trying to get them off. We also found that they were just poorly proportioned. You really need a good fit if you want any possibility of control and dexterity in a grill glove, and these were just too wide here. The fingers were too wide. If you are gonna get grill gloves, don't get these, get these. These are the ATK recommended grill gloves by WZQH. They are the winner of our testing this year. And here's why we loved them. They came in 4 different sizes. The better the fit, the more dexterous you're gonna be able to be with the gloves. We loved that. They also kept our hands really safe, most importantly. They did this with a combination of air-isolated aluminum and flame-retardant cotton. Air is a great insulator, and this kept our hands safe. In fact, these had the best heat protection of all of the models we tested. Now for a piece of gear we tested this year that we liked. Stove-top griddles can be fantastic. They can bring the diner into your home. You can make delicious smash burgers, a whole bunch of eggs and bacon for breakfast. We really love these, and we tested models that straddle 2 burners because 1 burner ones, they just aren't that different from a skillet. And we found some that we truly love. We tested models in a bunch of different materials, from non-stick coated aluminum to stainless steel to carbon steel and cast iron. Now, which should you get? It really depends on what you want to do in your griddle. Our winners ended up being a non-stick coated aluminum model from Cuisinart and a cast iron model from Lodge. And the reason we came up with 2 winners is because they excel at different things. So, for example, non-stick, super light, maneuverable. It heats up and cools down more quickly. Now these can be real benefits when you want to free your stove back up after covering it. But if you want to do a smash burger, for example, and you really want to get a nice sear, these can't be heated that hot. You don't want to heat them above 500 degrees because they do have that nice non-stick coating on there. But that non-stick surface can really turn out some beautiful pancakes, for example, eggs. It cooks wonderfully. So it excels at some things, not so great with high heat searing. Coming over here to the cast iron model from Lodge, this is heavier. It is harder to free back up the burners if you want to move it off and on the stove. It takes longer to heat up and cool down, but you get a beautiful ripping hot sear on here. It can be fantastic for smash burgers. Handles, for example, you'll see a difference here. Ones that stuck up and out were a lot easier to grab, but the cast iron models, they didn't have those. So if you're interested in this kind, look for a looped handle, but just know that it's going to be harder to grab, especially if you have an oven mitt on and it's hot. The handle's not sticking out. This can actually be a pro for storage, for example. You can slide it into a cabinet. On the other hand, the cast iron is heavier. If you're wrangling it in and out of the sink, it's a little heavier and harder to maneuver, whereas over here, the non-stick coated aluminum is lighter, easier to maneuver, easier to clean. Another thing we really liked with our winner from Cuisinart over here was the high walls. It's nice for containing splatter. If you've got pancake batter, it's not going to go running everywhere. The Lodge model over here, it has walls and a grease trough over here. It was better than other, carbon steel or cast iron models that we tested, but it doesn't have the containment with the Cuisinart. So, which should you get? It really depends what you want to cook in it. If you want to be searing things and using high heat, you want to be searing steaks, burgers, you want to use this thing on the grill, you can do all of that with cast iron. It's a much more versatile material. You don't have to baby it as much temperature-wise. If you don't want to deal with any upkeep and you want something that's light, super easy to maneuver, and you're going to stick on the lower temperature end, so for example, eggs, bacon, pancakes, go with a non-stick coated aluminum model. Just beware that you cannot use this on the grill and you don't want to use it with high heat. If you're looking for something that's induction friendly, make sure you do your research. This model over here is not induction friendly. This one is, and it really depended model to model, material to material. I actually have the Lodge model. I got 2 of these as a wedding gift, and I use both of them. I keep one on my stovetop at all times. 1, because it's kind of heavy to move around, and 2, because it's really useful there. I can use it as a landing place. I like to pretend I'm a short order cook in a diner. I can cook up things on there as I please. The one thing I will recommend though is it's uneven unless you give it the time to heat up. Give it 5 to 10 minutes to heat up so you get that even cooking all over the surface. Another standout winner from this year is the ATK recommended personal blender, the Beast Health Blender. really rose to the top of our rankings for small personal blenders. These are portable, you can take them on the go, they take up much less room than their larger counterparts, and this one aced our tests. Our best buy is from NutriBullet. It wasn't quite as powerful, but did a decent job. The Beast, on the other hand, this thing truly is a beast, and here's why it won. One thing we found in testing was that the shape of the jar is really important. Wider U-shaped jars were better for circulating ingredients, which made for more even blends. Taller, narrower jars trapped food far away from the blade, which resulted in less even, more chunky blends. 6 or more blades angled in different directions were most effective at efficiently and fully grinding up foods. We have a testing smoothie that we use every time. It's a combination of really tough fibrous kale, frozen pineapple. It's a really rugged thing to blend, and blenders that can do this nice and smoothly and easily rated higher in our testings. It also has orange juice in it and is remarkably delicious. Let us know in the comments if you want the recipe. We'll throw it down there. Another thing that we found was really important was hands-off operation. Some of these you had to hold down a button the whole time they were working. We really preferred ones that were simple button press, you could walk away, really nice for busy mornings, or those that simply started when you screwed the components together. And finally, extras like travel lids right here with a nice leak-proof seal that you could sip from more easily, or this is a storage lid right here. These extra accessories really pushed this model over the top. Those are some of my highlights and lowlights from 2023. Now here's Lisa with hers.
First on my list, the food processor attachment that goes on one of our recommended high-end blenders. This is the Vitamix A2500 Ascent series. It also fits the Venturous series. It doesn't fit our top-rated 5200 Vitamix, but it does fit these. So if you already have this blender or another one that this food processor attachment from Vitamix will fit, it might be a good choice. We put it through all the same tests that we used for our food processor review just to see how well it compares. So we did everything from chopping mirepoix, blending yogurt with green and yellow food coloring to see how quickly it blended it together. We made sticky, high hydration pizza dough, and we also made pie crust. So was it worth it? In our testing, we could only recommend it with reservations. It wasn't really ideal. It did most of those food processor tasks just fine. Where it really fell down was it could not handle dough. So when we did that sticky high hydration pizza dough, these blades just got glommed up and they couldn't move. It started to overheat. We had to take it off and take everything out and finish it by hand. If you already own this blender and you want to get the food processor, it does save a little space. It's the same machine, and you're just putting this on top and using that same motor to run this food processor. But our ATK recommended Cuisinart Custom 14 food processor can do a lot more. It can perform the full range of tasks for just about the same money. Personally, I would skip it. I really think that our dedicated food processor does a much better job at every task. Next, a product we liked, cast iron bread ovens. If you bake bread a lot at home, or you'd like to, it might be worth investing in one of these. Now, most people just use their Dutch oven, which is enameled cast iron, and we love that, it's great, but there's a couple of little drawbacks. One is that you can really discolor the enamel over time. Oils polymerize on the surface, turn really brown and blotchy, and it's very hard to remove. So if you care about keeping it a little bit nicer looking, that's kind of a downside. The other is that the round shape of the typical Dutch oven that we recommend is going to limit the shape of the bread you can make. So if you want to make something in a more oval shape, you can't do it in that. You can only do round loaves. Dutch ovens also have a minor safety concern in that the high sides make it a little bit tricky when you're lowering the bread in or taking it out. You could burn your knuckles. Dedicated bread ovens can solve some of those problems. We have two choices here. One is our winner, our ATK recommended favorite, which is the Challenger bread oven. And we have our best buy, which is by Lodge. During testing, we found that these bread ovens had certain traits that you'd want to look for in any dedicated bread oven. First, you want simple cast iron construction. Simpler is better. These ovens have just two parts, a base and a lid, and they're both entirely made of simple, uncoated cast iron. One of the things we loved about this one is that it has a huge base that can accommodate bread loaves of up to 1 kilo, which is 2.2 pounds, and they can be either boules, which are round, or batards, which are oblong. And there's plenty of space for the bread to spread out and to fit larger loaves. We also love that it has 2 sets of really large, easy to grip looping handles. These 2 on the top help you put the lid on and off. The ones on the side let you lift the entire oven. And this thing is really heavy, but that's a great thing because these thick walls and this heat retaining cast iron is going to give you a wonderful crust on your bread. So this thing weighs 22 pounds. That's a lot of cast iron. When you're going to use this, you're going to need to preheat it in the oven for a full hour. Usually we'll leave the Dutch oven in for half an hour. It's much thinner. These are much thicker walls. It's going to need a full hour to get it up to temperature and to let all that heat seep into these thick walls. So you could actually bake another loaf after the first one is done. And they're going to bake a little faster than a typical Dutch oven. This one will bake up to 20 minutes faster. So the first couple times you use it, just really keep an eye on that and get used to how it behaves if you're used to a typical Dutch oven. The Challenger costs almost $300. It's amazing. We love everything about it, but that's a lot of money to invest in. We have a great option in our Best Buy by Lodge. This is a camp cooker, and it was not made for bread, but it works pretty closely to the same way the Challenger does. It has a top that is essentially a skillet and a bottom that's like a deep saucepan. So together they become a Dutch oven, and this is supposed to give you some versatility when you're camping. That's what its original purpose was. But we have discovered that it also works really, really well for bread. It has the same thick, uncoated cast iron, very simple construction. It's going to bake really well. You can't wreck it. You know, any kind of darkening that happens from baking is never going to show up. And it makes gorgeous bread. I have one of these at home. I use it a lot, and I love it. It's so simple, and it costs about $50 compared to the $300 for the Challenger. Cold brew coffee has really made a big fanfare lately. It's even converted some non-coffee drinkers to drinking coffee because cold brew, which is steeped in cold or room temperature water instead of hot water, really has a floral, fruity, smooth, rounded flavor compared to traditional coffee. The thing to know about cold brew coffee is it's slower to make. Hot water quickly extracts all the flavor compounds out of coffee grounds, so you can make it in 4 to 8 minutes. With cold brew coffee, you make a concentrate that keeps in your refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. Now you can just pour that straight over ice to make a really lovely non-diluted iced coffee, or you can add some hot water and you can dilute it to your preference to make a hot cup of coffee on demand. So you don't have to be brewing coffee every morning. You do it once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on how fast you drink it, and you're done. We have an ATK method on our website for hacking your French press to make cold brew. And I've done that. It makes great cold brew, but having a dedicated system is a lot simpler. So we tested a lot of different styles of cold brew machines that had different approaches. What we found was simpler is better. This is our ATK recommended favorite. It's the Toddy cold brew system. During our testing, we found that the Toddy had some key attributes that you really want in a cold brew system. First, a really spacious brew basket. This large brewing basket gives lots and lots of space for the water and coffee to interact, and the coffee will release its favorable flavor compounds. We also really loved the filter system on the Toddy. So you have the little filter disc and you get it wet, and then you press it right into the bottom of the filter basket. Then you're going to take this little silicone plug, and there's a hole at the bottom. That's where the coffee is going to drain out when it's ready. And you're just going to push that in. Next, you're going to add your cold water, coarsely ground coffee, and the instructions will give you the right proportions. There's a little silicone lid to cover that up so your cat won't play with the water or anything. And then you leave it at room temperature. When it says cold brewed, that does not mean you're going to do it in the fridge. Room temperature. It's not hot. So it's going to sit for 12 to 24 hours. So after the 12 to 24 hours at room temperature, you're just going to get over here, pull the plug over this glass carafe that they provide, and place this on top, and the coffee will drain out. It comes with a nice lid that really attaches tightly and keeps it all fresh. We also tested electrical cold brew makers, where they basically churn the cold water around the coffee grounds, and it's supposed to go a lot faster than waiting 12 to 24 hours while they sit together, like this one. That didn't work well either. The cold brew from an electric machine was gritty, sour, weak, and just wasn't any good. I've used the toddy. I really like it. I think simple is better. It does a really good job. The concentrate tastes great. This is a great machine. One of my favorite new testings for this year is hot water dispensers. This is great for anyone who loves to drink tea during the course of a day, especially as someone who's like working at home and doesn't want to get up and make tea in another room and come back. It keeps you at your desk so you get your work done. This is our ATK recommended favorite by Zojirushi. During testing, we found that this model of the Zojirushi water dispenser had a few key features that you really want to look for. First is speed. This one boiled 3 liters of water in about 30 minutes, which is faster than other models we tested. This one also has a high hold temperature, so it can hold water at 195 for up to 8 hours. It was really easy to fill. This red ball on the water display will rise as you're filling it, so you don't have to be peering inside. And it has some nice markings inside that show you exactly where you are and how much is in there. Some of them we were always peering back inside. It was a little awkward. This was very simple and nicely designed. Some of them have a flat face, and when you're trying to put something under here, whether it's a bowl or a cup or something that you're trying to dispense hot water into, you can't quite get it under the spout, and a lot was splashing around. This was very thoughtfully designed with a curve, so you can put your cup right under there. It dispenses right in. Fewer splashes, especially when it's hot. You really want to keep it in the cup. So comparing these to an electric kettle, it's just a little bit different. A kettle, you're going to have to lift it and pour it, and for some people who are not able to lift and pour with comfort, this is better because the water, it stays in place and you put your cup under it and the water comes right out. You can also do 3 liters at once, which is great because you're not going back and boiling more water. This holds a lot more than your typical kettle. And some kettles don't have adjustable temperature settings that will hit a certain target. So if you're always drinking a type of tea that needs 160 or 175 or something, you can just leave it there and it will always be at your perfect temperature. We also liked a model by Tiger. It's our best buy. It has a lot of the same features, but it was a little bit more difficult to fill. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's talk to someone who's had one on her desk for 10 years. Lon?
Hi, I hear there's a new winner.
Yes.
I really love that I can fill it up with water in the morning, set a temperature, and then I don't actually have to get up from my desk to make more tea unless, I don't know. No, I don't have to get up from my desk. It's perfect.
So anytime you want a cup of tea, you just dispense the water and brew your tea right there.
Yeah. I like that I don't have to have foresight. I can just have tea on demand after the water comes up to a boil and comes back down to the appropriate temperature.
So there you have it. Some of the highlights and maybe some things to avoid from this past year of testing at America's Test Kitchen. For more information on all the gear we talked about today, check out the links below or go to americastestkitchen.com.
What gadgets are you excited about going into the new year? What videos do you want to see from us next? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.